Well, that late October winter storm has caused a lot of problems. There's still people without power. So, Derrel, how has agriculture been affected?
Well, it was a mixed bag. There were positives and negatives. On the negative side, certainly, the cattle were exposed to, cold temperatures. Their hair coats got wet, either rain or ice or sleet or snow or, whatever form they happened to be in. And so there's no doubt that caused a lot of stress. This is the time of year when we're weaning calves. We might be receiving stocker cattle. Those kind of weather conditions are a real challenge for any animal, but especially those highly stressed animals to have to go through at this time of the year.
Well, you mentioned some positives. So what were some positive aspects?
Well, certainly the biggest positives, of course, was that we got significant rain across much of the state, anywhere from 2 to 5 inches. We've had very prevailing La Nina conditions, and I think that's what we're going back to, but this was an interruption to that provided a very much needed, batch of moisture. Our wheat pasture in particular was at a critical stage, and so this may be a very valuable thing in terms of allowing that wheat pasture to go ahead and develop, at least get us farther down the road.
Well, in regards to cattle markets, which markets, benefited from that?
Well, it's a little early to say for sure, but, probably, of course, during the storm, markets were negatively affected. A number of the auction markets around the state didn't actually happen. They closed that week during the storm. We had low prices for several weeks before that. And that probably represents the low. I anticipate with the improvement now in the prospects for some wheat pasture and getting past that weather that we'll see these markets pick back up a little bit, even though we have several more weeks of large runs of calves to market this fall.
What are you going to be looking at in the coming weeks as we start moving on into the new year?
Well, obviously we're going to watch this winter grazing thing from our perspective locally here. We're kind of trying to figure out how we're going to go from here, I guess. Cattle markets have struggled a little bit. Beef markets have struggled. And I think a lot of that is related to the fact that we're still very much caught up in the pandemic and the likelihood that we could see some additional impacts.
Do you expect, as we're going into the holiday season, that's kind of tend when our roast and beef like that starts to go up, with people staying home more? Do you think that's going to affect the markets at all?
Well, I've been somewhat concerned about winter beef demand, if you will. That's when we typically get into more of a restaurant-oriented, eating out kind of a beef demand as opposed to summer grilling season. And so I've been watching that. We haven't seen a lot of it yet, but we have seen boxed beef struggle a little bit, and I think that's probably related to the fact that, those restaurant-oriented cuts of beef probably are, they don't have as good a demand as they would have, certainly under other circumstances. So we have to watch it going forward to see if it continues to be a major limitation in the market.
All righty, thanks, Derrel. Dr. Derrel Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.